Hello, I'm Micks Mowers and Mower Man, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be working on this Honda Kaaz Lawnflight Pro 553 lawnmower. I've pretty much done the service on it. I've had the gearbox and roller all taken out. It's all in bits and pieces here, and I want to do a quick little video if I can. I'll say quick, my videos are never quick, on how to reassemble the actual gearbox itself, in what order, how it goes, what's required, and a little tip on how to change your Honda stroke Kaaz. They're pretty much the same gearbox from a low speed or standard speed to a high speed gearbox, which means when you engage your drive, if you've got the high speed one, it just goes along a bit quicker. And some people, especially me, as I'm 6'2", and guys that are taller, they require the high speed one because they say the gearboxes are the most too slow. But I have got other videos on how to take these gearboxes, rollers all apart, complete strips down and what have you. But it's quite a lengthy video. I want to do a smaller video on how to reassemble it. So if you're putting new clutches, new gears, bits and pieces into your Honda Kaaz Lawnflight Pro gearbox, and you want to know how to do it, then this could be the video for you. But before I get on, it's very important. I've got a couple of presents given to me from my Amazon wish list. The first one is I got some 10 mil pipettes, and the idea is someone said to me, if you use these, what you can do is you can put they're extra long. You can put them into the fuel tank, squeeze, let go, draw it out, and then you get a sample then of if there's any water in your fuel. So someone said to me, you should try them, because I've got a turkey baster, that's what I normally use, or what I've got, and he said try them, they're really good. So this gentleman's from, hopefully you'll get these, Mick, all the best, from Claire and Steve. So thank you very much indeed. Claire and Steve, you're an absolute star. He asked me to put them on the Amazon wish list. I put them on there, and he bought them for me. So I'll find a little place to put those, and then I can use them for testing fuel tanks going forward. And then the last one that came in, I had no idea about this one. Someone very kindly bought me a nice big can of commercial-sized WD-40. I go through it like you wouldn't believe. And the person who bought that for me was, thanks to the video, cleaned my first carby last week and now confident to do more. Keep up the great work, from Dominic. So cheers, Dominic. Nice little love letter from you there. Appreciate it. Got my can WD-40. I put it in with me in my aerosols drawer, and that kept me going for a little while. So if you want to show some appreciation, I've got my Amazon wish list all up and running. It's down in the comment section and down in the description. If you feel like, I've helped you out and you want to buy me a little something to say thank you, Amazon wish list is there, people. So feel free, knock yourselves out. Let's go on this gearbox, on this Honda Kaaz style Cobra. They're all the same apart from the genuine Honda ones. They're slightly different, but I'll go through that in the video. So there you go. So without further ado, let's get down dirty. Honda gearbox up on the bench once I've cleaned the bench, and we'll get this gearbox reassembled, so I'll show you where it all goes. Right, gloves on, and we're going to make a start. Now, just I want to alliterate, I have already stripped this roller apart. Gearbox has been taken apart, and the new clutch has already been fitted. But I wanted to go through the process of what you have to do and how to get there. So once you've removed your gearbox from your roller, and you've taken photographs of where everything goes prior, okay, this is what you'll be left with. You're left with a gearbox, and it'll have this little tiny shield on it as well, which goes on just here, okay. This one is held on by two 10mm nuts and bolts. Now generally they don't come off very well, and generally these will snap, okay. If it snaps on the nut side, always go for the nut side first, because you can then turn the gearbox over and go for the bolt side later. But what I would say is use a very, very small ratchet, really small, and just rock it backwards and forwards, and maybe a little tiny bit of heat, not too much. This is aluminium, so it won't take too much heating. Just take your time with it, okay, really, really gently, because these like to snap, okay. And if you snap these now, at this point, you've done all the hard work, and this should be the easier part. It's just a bit tricky. Two bolts come off. You don't want to get yourself into trouble. And then we've got 5 bolts that go through, 2 of which are slightly longer. The longer one goes into here, this side here, and over the other side on, I think it's on that one there, I believe. Oh no, this one here. This side here and this one here. They're the slightly longer ones, so 2 long ones and 3 shorter ones, okay? Once you've got all your bolts out, you think, yeah, I'm there, but you're not quite. You then have to separate the gearbox by splitting it in half. Now, a couple of things to just be concerned about. One is, inside the gearbox is a big O-ring like this. It's a seal, and that runs the entire diameter of the gearbox, okay? So when you're putting your screwdriver in there, just be a little bit mindful. There's a little tiny seal in there. You can buy another one, so it's not a problem if you break it. To get the gearbox apart, you need to remove 2 circlips, one on each side of this this spindle here, okay? There's one on both sides, one here and one on the other side here. Before you go any further, at this point, bit of tissue in there, bit of tissue in there, and then you need to clean these spindles all the way up. Make sure they're nice and clean. Wire brush, get a little tiny screwdriver, go down along the grooves. It's a bit of a painstaking exercise, but make sure they're nice and clean because that will benefit you later on. Once it's all clean, you can then get your screwdriver and very, very gently just start to pry the gearbox apart, okay, using all different areas to access it. And once it starts to break, that is when your oil will start to come out. So, quick pro tip, remove your oil drain screw and try and remove the oil that comes out of it first before you start mucking about with it. Wear your gloves. So all the oil or grease, whatever someone's put in there, is out. Once you start to move, you can then start to separate the gearbox up. Okay, and it will just slide off. Now mine come off so easy because literally I have cleaned it. That's the reason why it's coming apart. But there can be absolute pickles, okay? And once you have the gearbox apart, this is what awaits you, okay? Now it's a very, very simple gearbox, nothing too pressing inside here to confuse anyone. There's your output shaft, but by engaging your drive, that will engage your gearbox. Simple as that, okay? And it's normally the clutch that is the problem, normally, but not always. To take all this gearbox apart, what I tend to do is remove that circuit there, like I said, clean all the parts up, and then just start to push this one through with a little tiny soft blow hammer. Just push this one through, but then you're going to need to raise this side gear as well. This gear will just pull up, okay? And you do them in unison, okay? The idea is that the chain's not going to want to bend on you. Once you get sort of that far, that'll just lift up, and you can then start just to remove it both together. Now I have to put the clutch back in a minute, so we know where it all goes. Just take this one out. That will come out on its own. It nearly will. There it is. I'll take that spindle out. We'll take the chain off. Okay. I'll put that gear back in just for now. And that's where we are. So once you get to that point, you can then clean all this up. Okay, and there's 2 frushed washers on there. There's one. I've lost one because it's probably come off the other side. And there's one there. Okay, so they're both the same. So they need to go on like that, so that they're not grinding on any of the surfaces. Okay, so 1 frush washer either side of that, and then that's how it will go back in. Inside here is also a set of roller bearings. I had another one here, which is actually the one that come out of this gearbox, if I have it. Yes, I do. And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing it, is that the roller bearings on this one are absolutely shot to pieces. Okay, absolutely had it, both of them. So you can buy these, but not complete with the roller bearings. And these are a bit of a pickle to get out. You have to heat them up and what have you. But I had a spare one, so that's what I'm putting into there, and I shall refurb that other one at a later date. So don't forget your 2 frush washers. Once that's all been cleaned up, you put that to one side out the way. Okay. So on to the rest of the gearbox. Here you have your main gear. Okay, so be mindful of the new clutch I've got. Put that down, so that's out of the way. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. On the new clutch, sorry, put that back. That's it. Stay there, Mr. Clutch. Right, so on your main gear and your shaft, there will be another little tiny washer that sits just on the top there. There it is there, and that's where it needs to live. And there's a little tiny keyway just in here. Let me just try and tap that out with a hammer. So there's your main gear. It doesn't matter which way round that goes, it looks to be completely unison. There's a little tiny keyway just there, a tiny key, sorry. Look, as Ken would say, there's a key in a keyway. That's a key, that's a keyway. So there's a little tiny key there, and that will go on your main gear up there, and that just slides into there. A little bit of oil will help it. Mine's all been cleaned already, and that literally just sits down nice and flush all the way down, just so it's poking out the top, okay? And then that little tiny washer always sits on top there. All right. Let me just tap that gear down because it's not quite fully down. Soft blow hammer, no need to lean on this stuff, okay? Then you've got your clutch and your clutch fork. This is your clutch here, and this is your clutch fork, okay? The clutches on these, to order them, this is a part number I've got. When I do that part number I had, let me see if I can find it. I got mine from, I can't remember where I got it from now. It wasn't my normal purple people I get them from. I got them from somebody else because they were just a little bit cheaper. Let me just try and find the invoice that went with it. Oh, I need to check your clutches. So don't order your clutch until you've actually been inside the gearbox. You need to make sure you get your order in the right clutch. So, without any addresses being shown, part number was 11129-107. Okay, that was for that. And the doesn't say how much it was. No, it doesn't say how much it was. It was about £25. Okay, I got that from GLC Limited. So there's your clutch, and you just have to make sure you get the right clutch because of it has to sit up on top of this shaft. You see later on, it just slides on there nicely like that. So make sure you get the right one. So you have to count how many spindles there are because the Honda ones are slightly different, only slightly though. Then you've got your clutch fork. And this is a bit that activates your clutch, see, just like so. These do wear just literally right on the edges here that they thin out or they break just across here. This one's actually really, really good. So I shan't be replacing the clutch fork on this one. And then you've got your main gear underneath, just here. And then underneath that, there's a little tiny washer, another thrust washer to stop this main gear grinding on the casing. That's very, very important. Now, you cannot remove this main gear until you have removed the clutch fork. The clutch fork has to come out. You can't just remove the pinion gear. To do that, you have to remove the clutch fork. And the clutch fork is very, very easily done. You undo this little tiny 10mm bolt here. You take this out. You take this handle off of here. That comes off this way, and then you can then retract the clutch fork that way. But a little warning is before you remove that clutch fork, give it a little wipe just here, and you'll find there's two markings, just like timing markings on an engine or whatever. You've got one mark just here, where my screwdriver is now, and you've got one mark just up on the actual shaft itself. So when you put these back, they must be in line with each other, okay? If they're off-centered, you may do all this hard work and your drive won't work. You've got to take the whole lot apart. So just make sure that that point there and that point there are in line. Roughly in line is very good, but bang on line is where you really want it. Put that back on. They can be a bit of a pickle to do. What I tend to do is just get a very, very soft punch, and just once I've undone this bolt, is just drift that out because they can be a little tiny bit sticky. And again, look, all this crap in here wants to be cleaned out. So that's how you remove your clutch fork. To remove your pinion gear, this little tiny one, all you've got to do is a little tiny circlip just here, which comes out. Like that. Push it over that way towards the gearbox, and then just inside here is a little tiny pin that comes out somewhere. Where has it gone? It's in there somewhere, I know it is. A little tiny pin in there which has to be pushed out and then retrieved from the other side. There it is. Little tiny pin. You hold the pinion gear, that comes off, and then once this main gear is out, you can then push this pinion gear forward and that will slide out. And there's another little tiny washer associated with that one just there as well. Okay, that must go on before you put a new pinion gear in. So just to reiterate, under this main gear is a little tiny thrust washer just there. That must be lined up inside here before you can put the main shaft down. If you want to remove the main gear, you need to remove the clutch fork first, and then the pinion gear, and then your main gear will then come out. Change your pinion gear. If you're going to change your main gear, change your pinion gear also. Once you're ready to reinstall, make sure the washer is somewhere down the bottom underneath here. You can relocate it later on, it's no problem. put your main gear in, put your pinion gear in, and then put your clutch fork in, okay? Now, here's a quick image of the two types of gears you can get. And as you can see, one of them's curved slightly. Okay, this is a standard gear. I don't actually have a high-speed gear here with me today, but if you're going to put a high-speed gear in, you must put a high-speed pinion gear in as well. You can't have a mix and match of the two. So there are two. The straight ones, like this one, that is the standard speed, and then the one with a curved teeth on it, that's for high-speed gear. You can upgrade too. So if I wanted to upgrade this to a high-speed gearbox, I can do it just by changing the pinion gear and the main gear. Okay. So let's just say we're in a position now where we've changed the main gear. We have our washer associated with the thrust washer underneath. That's underneath there. Okay. So just stick it in for now. We will find it later. So as long as it's underneath, it doesn't matter for now. We want to then secure our pinion gear. We'll put the pinion gear back in with the associated washer. That goes in just there. Slide that home, okay? And then we're just going to get hold of this one, this casing, and just reference the two holes up. Slide that in. We're going to put our little tiny pin in. That's associated with that. We're going to put our little tiny circlip back on so we don't lose the pin. Just going to get a quick little visual inspection, make sure that's all the way home for us. It is. Once we've done that, I'll just recommend getting a little tiny tub of grease. Now I use my homemade grease, which I use on these type of gearboxes. Just trying to locate that. There it is. This is a mixture of EP90 and high temperature grease, and it's just a bit like a runny liquidy grease. So it doesn't go hard in the winter. Doesn't go too thin in the summer, and it's just a good all-round purpose. What I use, you can use whatever you like. They do specify in some manuals to use SAE30. But if we've got metal and metal, we've got no brass components in here, so we can use pretty much anything we like. But I like to use just my homemade concoction because it just runs really nice. And also with having the grease one, it makes the gearbox less noisy too. Right, so pinion gear in, that's all in. We've got a washer underneath, we've got a main gear in there, all that sort of good yummy stuff. Now would be the time to try and locate that little tiny washer we had. It's over here at the moment. Just going to flick this main gear up, lift the clutch fork up out of the way, get all this main gear, just lift that up and just wiggle this little washer over roughly into position. And it's just a bit of a jiggling game. There it is, just come into view now. I'm just going to locate that roughly into a position. Stick your little finger in there, or wooden dowel, whatever you've got, just to locate it. Once it's been located and it's in the position it needs to be, we're going to be a bit careful what we do next. We just need to make sure we're all lined up. Lovely. At this point, what I would recommend is just trying to jack up this back end of the gearbox so that the gearbox is not laying down completely flat. We can probably use the other part of the gearbox for that, just so it holds it up nice and level. Does that make sense? We know that's all in place. We now want to bring in our main gear, okay, which has got the thrust washer on the top. It's got the keyway inside there as well. And we want to bring in the clutch as well. The clutch goes down that way because it beds into these gears here, okay. Now, this is generally what wears, and they wear on the top. There's not a lot of material for it to wear, but once they start to slip, that's would be the reason. And your clutch will go down and sit on your main gear just like so. We're then going to bring in this gear, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this gear down. Okay, now it's not going to go all the way down to begin with because I need to make sure everything is lining up. So a little tiny bit of grease, not too much, just enough just to wet the old whistle, just to make sure that clutch will go on there and it will move. Make sure that thrust washer underneath hasn't moved too much. Okay, now what I want to do is put my clutch in there, okay, and now I want to bring in this part here, which has got two thrust washers either side. Bring your chain in, because we need to put your chain on your main drive spindle, like so. We need to then start to push that down. Now, you don't go all the way. Let's get it to move, and the more cleaning, the easier this is. Okay, I'm telling you. You then want to get your your clutch down, and then you'll just put this one into position and put your chain loosely, loosely goosely on. I can't see it like because I'm trying to manipulate the camera. Just start to level the stuff up. But that washer underneath the main gear is your main concern at this present time. I know it hasn't moved. I'm going to start to work this down to the hole. Bit of a twist. Oh, telephone ringing. 2 seconds, guys. That's my mate Pete on the phone, right in the midst of me doing my video. That's Pete BR500. Now, if you get this far and you're struggling, just remove it again, because we need to make sure if that's not gone down. Why has it not gone down? I dare say it's probably because that washer might have moved, but mine hasn't. Okay, so we'll go again. All of a sudden we'll just drop on you, but it will only do that once this chain is starting to drop. There you go, it's going down. A little bit of a twist, a little bit of a push. It's going. It's not quite gone down far enough yet. You can try to engage the clutch as well, just to try and help it. The problem I've got at the moment is the clutch is not engaged on the gear spindle underneath. I'm going to get a screwdriver and just try and lift that clutch up onto the gear spindle. Get that to slide up and down. And yeah, that's what it is. With a little bit of rotating, a bit of manipulation. That's gone up there now. I think right now I've got to locate that hole. If at any point you feel that washer is not playing ball, you need to come all the way back out again, okay, which I'm going to now because I'm not convinced that washer's in the right place. So that's got to come back out. I want to check that washer. I dare say it's moved because we did quite a bit of jiggling here. See how that washer has moved right across? See that? So what you can do here is put a little bit of grease on, just to make sure that washer stays put. It's no good doing it if that washer has moved. I recommend putting your finger in there. That's where it wants to be, just there. That's lush. It's just a bit of a faff. That's all it is. But it's perfectly doable. You just got to have patience. That's what you've got to do. Make sure you've got all your parts. I'll put my clutch down first. And your clutch, by putting your clutch down, your clutch will help line up your main gear. That's all got to sit together, you see, as uniform. So get your clutch to bite. There it goes, that's gone in. And then put your finger in, line that washer up. That's not a million miles away. That wants to be about there. That'd be lush if that would go there. Get your components. Make sure all your washers are on. Start to bring it down. Oh, that's gone. I think nearly gone. It's going. So at this point, engage your clutch and then just spin your output shaft. About to tighten everything up. That's dropped down. And what you're looking for is you're looking for your chain to be level, pretty much level on the bottom there. Okay, that's how it should look. So I now know that washer is definitely 100% in place. I know it is. Just make sure all your thrust washers are where they need to be. If they're not where they need to be, that will cause you problems later on. Maybe not straight away, but it will cause you problems later. Right, let me dry my hands and I'll come back. Okay, now we know our gearboxes are all in. There's two studs here. Sometimes the studs will go off with the lid or stay on there or just fall out. This one here fell out on me, but there's two studs that go here. You now want to bring in your little tiny O-ring seal. You can buy these. It just sits into the groove. Nothing special happening here. Sits into the groove and make sure it's well seated. Now, the reason that I like to use my own concoction of grease is because if this seal breaks or it gets really, really hot in the summer, the oil can seep out, okay, with the grease that I make. And it's only EP90 and high temperature grease. That's all it is. It's nothing, you know, I'm not putting no mama's special recipe in there. This is just normal stuff I would use anyway. It's very hard for it to leak out. At this point, if you wanted to, you could now add this grease. Okay, what I do is I've got one of these massive syringes things that I use for taking engine oil out or for cleaning Nana's ear rolls. I'll fill that up and then I will just literally inject that into the gearbox once I'm there by putting it in there. That's what I do. So you get a big syringe, or you can add your grease if you wanted to now. The only problem with doing it now is you're going to get smothered right now by doing it by hand, okay? But the gearbox will actually go onto the lawnmower that way around. That's how it sits back on the roller. So just be mindful that this is where the oil sits in this side here, not all in this well. This is normally outside of where the oil sits. Just lost a wash of it. So I generally pack mine quite well up anyway, but I'll be doing mine later once I've got the gearbox sealed and all shut up, because otherwise you just get absolutely ruddy smothered. And once you start working with grease, you just covering it for the rest of the day. So I'm not going to entertain my grease just yet. So oil seal to go down, that's all it is, it's an oil seal. Make sure it's all right down as it should be. Once we're there, we can then bring in the other side. Now, there are oil seals on these as well, which you can replace if you want to, but because I've cleaned these all up nicely, it should go down quite nice. So I'm now going to slide this one down there. I've got a flush wash at either side there, haven't forgotten that. Bring it down, nice and gentle. You might have got a little tiny soft blow hammer here, just to help. And so all we're doing is we're just encouraging. See how I'm barely tapping it, and that's how easy yours should come up and down. Now, it has to locate the main shaft on here and come down on here all in one movement, and you'll know that when the gearbox actually closes up. Okay, so we'll go down nice and gently. Don't go too hard with it. Now you may find that it hasn't quite lined up, so just maybe a little bit of manipulation. My oil seal has just creeped out of its hole, which is fantastic. Again, maybe a little bit of grease on there just to hold it in place, wouldn't go amiss. These are all the final checks we're doing to make sure it's all going in place. If you're not sure at any point, just take it back off. It's just not worth getting this far and now this is where we're going to have our mistake. Okay, it's just not worth the effort. So make sure everything is where it needs to be for the closing ceremony. So my O-ring is just going to manipulate me. Now I like to keep my videos raw and how they are, so you can see the real struggles. At this point, you can actually turn that round. Okay, that's up high enough. Anyone that says, "Oh yeah, these take half an hour," they don't. You can be wailing on these all day long, and I have done. I've actually broken gearboxes trying to separate them. And that's an expensive thing to happen to you. Right, I'll put a little bit of grease on there, just to try and hold that in place. A bit of Micks Mowers special sauce. That's better. Okay, I'm going to go again. I'm going to turn that round. Start to manipulate it down. I'm going to hold the gearbox up this time. I don't want to touch that O-ring. Bit of a tap. Right, that's the gearbox closed. That's nearly closed. It's not all the way yet, but we are nearly there. I'm just double checking that O-ring, which it hasn't. Look, see that O-ring there? It's come out of the groove one more time. Just there. Just there. It's already pinched. And you'll know because the gearbox won't sit. So that's what come apart again, okay? Because that O-ring is just slightly, it's just not sat down right where I want it to. These are the struggles, people, that we have. I don't think I can save it because I don't actually know how far that O-ring has sat down or not. I might get it. I don't think I will though. I think it's going to come apart again. Oh, pig in it. It's in there. Might be just slide the old flathead driver into the groove. That's all in. That looks to be all in. Let's try and see if I can see it. Yeah, that's in there. It's just this top corner. That's not playing ball. Just there. And this corner here. That's it. I think I've got it after that. Yeah, just here. Get that to sit down. Just there. One good tap and that go down. Yeah. Right, that saves me taking all that apart again. Right, so gearbox is now down. Okay, I just want to get a little tiny bit of blue shop rag. And just going to save my roller bearings to save getting any dirt in them. Just going to put a bit of tissue in there and a bit of tissue in there. This will be quite a lengthy video, guys and girls, but this is the true reality. Okay. Test my gearbox. Oh, lifted the clutch up. Look what I did. Lifted the clutch up. Oh, what happened there? What happened there? I'm trying to lift that. Where's that clutch? Here's a clutch. So what's happened now is right. So the gearbox is now seated and where it needs to be. We now want to get the bits and pieces put back in, and we're looking for 5 bolts total, 2 of which will be slightly longer than the other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then I'll get some old pants, what I call old pants. Which is copper slip, which smells like my mate Pete's old pants. This is the actual jar of copper slip anti-seize compound that my mate Pete gave me years ago. And like I said to you, there are 2 longer ones and 2 shorter ones. You don't got to look at where stuff goes. Longer one goes in there and up this top end up here. So longer one first, a little tiny bit of copper slip just to help it. And it also aids in when you come to take it out in a couple of years for who's that ringing? I think it's my mum ringing me up now. A bit later on, if your gearbox fails again, you know that you'll be able to get in there and get your bolts out. Now, notice I'm not putting no bolts in this back side down here, because down there is where your guard's going to go. Now I'm not going to impact these up. These do not have to be hung on. They really, really don't. You can literally just use a little tiny 10mm ratchet and socket. What's that? It's a 10mm. And all I'm going to do, just going to hold the gearbox nice and gently. I just need to get the gearbox closed and tightened down. Just so if we move a clutch fork, if you move a clutch fork at any time now before these bolts are kissed down, then what happens, your gearbox will then separate again, and all that's got to be done up again. All right, so we're going to close that gearbox down. Just get it moving. Notice how I'm not hanging on these at all. Really, I'm not hanging on them because I don't need it. Because you'll snap them. Trust me. Ask me how I know. Doing these up is just as dangerous as me undoing them. So I've got big hands, and you hang on these, and they just snap because they're just such a soft material. The copper slip is going to help run the new bolts, run the bolts in. It's going to help so they don't seize later on. All good. Right, that's that bit done. That's the bolts in. The gearbox is now secure. We can now just put this end plate in. Now these do wear. This one I should replace really. I haven't got a spare at the moment. I might have a spare actually. I might have a spare. Let's have a look. In my box of Honda bits. No, I haven't. Right, well, that answers that question then. So this will do for now. That can go on there. Now these are threaded on the bottom side. Okay. Underneath the gearbox. All that's just going to slip in there. So make sure it's around the right way. That's going to go around there. So that's wants to go around like that, higher end at the back. And then that just slides in. A bit fiddly. Little tiny tap. That's good. Just, no, bear in mind I said they're threaded right at the bottom. Okay. So that's that. Turn it over, and I've got my 2 bolts with nuts. And again, we're going to use a copper slip because these like to see. So maybe a little bit of grease as well. It won't hurt it. Anything you put on these ones is not going to hurt. Okay, because these are the ones that are in the elements, touching the grass, getting wet. So it don't matter how much copper slip you put on there because that's only ever going to help. We're going to run these ones in. And this is why I'd recommend not to put any grease in the gearbox until you're ready to, because you saw I had to take that gearbox apart 2 or 3 times because the rubber O-seal O-ring had come out, and that's a problem. That's why I don't recommend doing that. Do it later, but don't forget to do it. We're going to do these 2 nuts up, or these 2 bolts up, and again we're not going to hang on those. We're not going to hang on those. We're just going to kiss them down so they're done up. And they will stop because it's threaded, like I said to you. So nick them. I'm not hanging on them because they'll snap. I mean, a new gearbox one of these is about £450 now. Wow. And you can do a whole lot for about 150, 200 quid, depends where you get your parts from. A little bit of copper slip on there because that's where it's going to fail next time round. That's all. Next time round, so a little bit of copper slip just to help it, and then nut can go on there. Nut can go on there. In fact, I want a washer on there too. That comes with an associated washer. Nick them up. So quite a lengthy video, guys, but this is how long it takes, literally. If it all goes to plan, I will alliterate that. So don't hang on that. Just once that nut is down, that's it. Don't go no more. It does not need to be done up super duper tight. Trust me, because it'll only be you coming back to undo it later. So just nick them down. As long as it's down, that's all that matters. Right. So let me reposition the camera, and then we'll have a quick little chat and wrap this video up. Right, so that's this Honda Kaaz Cobra Lawnflight Pro gearbox now done. New clutch. The main gear was fine, the pinion gear was fine. Don't forget, if you're going to upgrade it to a high-speed gear box, then you need to upgrade the main gear and the pinion gear, okay, to make it into a high-speed one. And we do sell them separately, so it's good. Make sure you now put all in this, or whatever you're going to put in it. Now's the time to put that in there. Seal it up. I mean, I would recommend leaving this overnight, sat in this position, so that you can see if it leaks or not by the morning. Apart from that, that is pretty much near enough unedited version. Okay, that however long this video is how long this took me to do. But they can take an extra 3 hours. They can be absolute pigs if they're not well maintained. So my argument, and not my argument, my question is, if you have one of these and you put it into a lawnmower shop dealer, get them to service a gearbox, okay, and that is serviceable. Get them to have that roller out, split it, and you want to put plenty of copper slip on here now, and what have you. Don't not do it, because it'll be just so much hard work when it comes down to maintaining these, and you can maintain these on and on and on. They go forever, and these drives are fantastic. So there you go, quick little video for you. It's not quick, a long one, on how to and where all the bits go inside your gearboxes on your Hondas. I hope it has helped and given you some information. and has educated you, because this educates me how I first learned to do it. So thank you very much for watching. If I have helped you out and you want to show some appreciation, my Amazon wishlist is down below. My Micks Mowers and Mower Man merchandise shop is also down below. For my Micks Mowers t-shirt, look cool just like me. That's fantastic. Leave me a very nice comment or a nasty one. I do reply to most of them anyway. It makes no difference to me. And I look forward to you guys next time Micks Mowers very, very soon. Until don't forget, much more importantly, take it easy.